Welcome back to our video series on the male identity crisis. We're talking about what's going on for men right now and the rise of the manosphere. Now, in the previous video, we talked about the consequences of all these factors that were influencing male identity. In this video, we're going to start talking about some solutions. What do we need to change to fix the male identity crisis? In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the social factors, which is the predominant things we need to fix, spoiler alert. In the next video, I'll talk a little bit more about what individuals can do, what can we do as men. But a lot of these problems are social problems. And so this needs addressing on a societal level, right? We need to change the law. We need politicians to do things. We need, as a society, to change these things. Because a lot of these things aren't individual problems. If we look at wealth inequality, we've got one guy worth 500 billion quid and loads of people struggling they either have to choose to buy food or heat their house. Well, those are not unrelated problems, surprisingly, right? That is how we have chosen to design our society, with these huge levels, uber capitalism, wealth inequality. So one of the first things we need to do, right, is start paying a living wage. Get back to this idea that if you've got a family, one person should be able to go to work and be a provider and get a sense of meaning from being that provider, from not feeling like a burden because they can't provide, but paying a living wage so that one parent can work, one parent can look after the family. Everyone has time to spend time with their children, buy and cook healthy food, all of these problems that we've been talking about. Again, this would also free up time for people to engage in hobbies, go to clubs, rebuild men's support networks that are around activity bases. One of the ways that we could do this is we could equalize maternity and paternity leave. So this is what I'm talking about when I say we need to look at gender equality holistically. So right now, women are earning 13% less than men. We need to figure out where women are being discriminated against. But we've got a good clue, right? That at the moment, women will typically, in the UK, you get like 9 months maternity pay. Men get 2 weeks. So employers are inherently, implicitly told to discriminate against women because women are going to disappear off while men will focus on their career. If both parents got 6 months, that would address some of the pay inequality that women are on the wrong side of. But it would also help men shift their identity away from having to be the provider if they don't want to be the provider, but also give them more time to explore other elements like being a family man and making fatherhood an equal option. We could also change the age at which children start school. So for example, in Finland, children don't start school until they're 7. And Finland has one of the best, sometimes by ranking the best, education system in the world. Now, if you're a parent, you might be thinking, yeah, but does that mean I have to have them home till I'm 7? Like, how am I going to have a job? How am I going to have a career? You'll be glad to know that Finland also has heavily subsidized childcare before then. So you can absolutely go back to work, and it's capped at like 300 euros a month. It's insane how cheap it is if you've been used to paying, say, British prices for childcare. We could also, so one of the other things that we've seen in education is we've seen this shift away from exams and towards continuous assessment. Now, there are problems with exams. They're really stressful, but there is a gender aspect to this. Boys typically do better in end-of-year exams, whereas girls typically do better with continuous assessment and coursework. Now, given that boys are falling behind, we might want to re-examine that balance as to where we're going with continuous assessment versus exams, given that boys really seem to respond to exams. We could implement male-specific mental health services. So men are less likely to want to do traditional talk therapy, where they're expected to sit down often with a female counsellor and talk about their feelings. They respond better to things with concrete steps or activity-based therapies. Could we introduce more of these to support men who are struggling? Then we also need stronger regulation of social media. And in fact, we're already seeing this across the globe. The EU is reining in these addictive algorithms. Australia is trialling this ban for social media for under 16s. And recently, in a court in California, Meta and Google were ruled against for having addictive apps. And as we've talked about, one of the problems is A, these addictive apps are taking us away from the real world where men would build support networks. B, they're also getting trapped in these echo chambers where they get fed this seemingly self-improvement content that turns into misogyny. And for both of these reasons, we need to tackle the addictiveness and the echo chambers created by social media.